So here we are. Finally, after 2 years, we're finishing up this retrospective by talking about the last SaGa game. What? No! Romancing SaGa was a remake!
I've talked about it and all the others while discussing the original games.
Today we'll be talking about the last brand new SaGa game. No!
Both Emperor SaGa and Imperial SaGa are casual games for browsers and mobile devices. They are considered spin-offs, so they will not be discussed in this video. Today, we'll talk about...
Oh, come on!
Yes, I know about Last Remnant. It has elements from the SaGa series, and it is said that it started development as SaGa Frontier 3. And furthermore, I also know about Legend of Legacy, another game made by the people from the SaGa crew, which is said to celebrate all things SaGa. But both these titles don't have SaGa in their name, so they don't count.
Today I'll be talking about the newest game in the main series, Unlimited.
Yes. In the time that it took me to make this video, it was revealed that SaGa 2015 stood for SaGa Scarlet Grace, scheduled for release in 2016. Of course.
But it's not out yet, so as of today, the newest game in the franchise is Unlimited SaGa. Enjoy!
Before we begin, I would like to address a mistake I've made in the first part of this retrospective. The first game Akitoshi Kawazu worked on was Rad Racer, not Final Fantasy. And to give more insight into the production of that title, Mr. Kawazu and many others were huge fans of Dungeons & Dragons, Wizardry, and Ultima, hence their desire to make a game that borrowed elements from them. But the company would not allow it, thinking it would not sell. Then Dragon Quest came out and its success changed everything. The permission to make fighting fantasy was given, but then it turned out there was already something with that name, and with the company slowly going bankrupt, it was renamed to Final Fantasy. Mr. Kawazu specifically worked on the battle system of the game, trying to make it as close to D&D as possible, coming up with things like elemental weaknesses and strengths, equipment being able to cast spells, and the job system. And that was your video game trivia for tonight.
So now, imagine it's 2002. You're a Squaresoft fan, and you really want to play the sequels to their big-name franchises. What's in store for you?
Final Fantasy X is out already, Dawn of Mana won't be out for years, Chrono Break might never happen. Oh, what's this? Unlimited SaGa? A new SaGa game? Without a capital G in the title? This could be good. Let's watch the trailer. Oh my! Beautiful graphics accompanied by truly wonderful music. This looks amazing. And there's talk about the game being released with an exclusive trailer for Final Fantasy X too, a game which I wanted to play at the time. Soon, information about the story was leaked. Long ago, there was a hero called Iskandar, whom roamed the world and conquered the 7 wonders, agent structures created in a forgotten time for an unknown purpose. A new chapter of history opens as 7 different heroes arise to conquer them as well. Being familiar with the story of the actual 7 wonders, I felt certain that Iskandar was loosely based on Alexander the Great. But then, years later, I watched Fate Zero.
I am Iskandar, king of conquerors!
Iskandar is the Persian version of the name Alexander. Go figure! My excitement for the game grew with time, and then it was finally released. I bought a local video game magazine, went past all the pages just to see the review, and directed my eyes towards the review score. A perfect... A 6? A 6,6 out of 10? How dare you Gangsta? Huh. Oh well. I went online to look for more positive reviews. However, at the time, all of them were much more negative. The whole world seemed to hate this game, with some declaring it as the worst game of all time. But why? Why would so many people feel such hostility towards Unlimited SaGa?
This is gonna get rough.
In a series of unique games, Unlimited SaGa still manages to stand out. You are not allowed to control your character in real time. Exploration is instead turn-based. You move by one field each turn, with a chance of encountering monsters, treasure chests, or some objects to interact with. It seems pretty clear that the makers were going for a board game feel, given how your character is represented by a metallic game piece. This kind of approach is very unusual and does not help the feeling of immersion. You don't feel like you're a character stuck inside a dungeon. You feel like you're playing a board game inside of a video game. Kind of stale. As for the exploration of cities, all of them are static screens where the shops, taverns, and NPCs are just menu options. And the story itself is delivered with gorgeous images which just scroll around the screen while the characters practically never change facial expressions. Yeah, I'm sure the Final Fantasy X fans who bought this game for the trailer were in love with this idea. Oh, and remember how opening treasure chests work in that game? You see a chest, press X, done. Unlimited SaGa takes a different approach. Opening a treasure chest requires the use of the following abilities: Locksmith, Diffuse, Sharp Eye, Fortune Teller. I guess you would also need magic, because there might be a magical lock on the chest. And just about all these steps will force you into a mini-game which determines if you succeed or not. Sounds like fun, right?
Boring!
Okay, enough of that. Let's get to the battle system.
It may surprise you, but the battles do take place in a three-dimensional environment. The characters and enemies are sprites, sure, but they look amazing. But yeah, let's get to the gameplay. Each turn, you get 5 moves, which you spread among your 7 team members. You are even able to give multiple moves to the same character, which can be useful in certain situations. Once you make your choice, you can use the reel to perform better versions of the attacks that you're using, if you spark them in combat before, that is. Like in previous games, you're able to form combos with other characters. This time, however, You make the call if a combo gets made or not. It's a risk versus reward thing. Long combos with many characters mean more damage, but they have a higher risk of being interrupted by an enemy. Once all enemies are gone, you get no skill ups. The real progress arrives once you complete the quest. That's when you'll be able to add one of 4 possible skills to your character's growth panel. All this impacts the attributes of the character, and there's an HP increase, you can save your game, and that's basically it. The game is about finding new equipment in stores, picking either a main mission or a side quest, completing it while dealing with traps, monsters, treasure chests, all while shaking the one-armed bandit's hand, and then putting some new abilities into these weird panels. I could spend more time talking about magic tablets, the unusual HP LP system, repairing broken weapons, and many other things in the game, but I think I am already getting the point across that this is a strange game.
Only natural for the Final Fantasy crowd to feel really polarized by this title, but even plenty of SaGa fans did not know what to do with it.
Tons of players despised it, calling it repetitive, confusing, difficult, and unplayable. It had collected plenty of negative reviews, and regardless of more than 10 years passing, many still feel burning rage whenever it's brought up, and stand by calling it the worst game in the SaGa franchise, or even the worst game of all time. To many, this game killed the franchise, and I must confess, this entire retrospective was leading up to this one game. This one cursed title.
'Cause honestly, I really like this game. Don't worry about that. That was just my credibility.
But how? How can I enjoy this game when it's so horrendous? Well, as much as I acknowledge all the problems that it has, there are things about it that I like, such as...
Fight the good fight, no matter the foe.
No, not that. Let's start with the story.
The game features 7 playable protagonists, and manages to make them all feel very different, both in terms of difficulty and how linear their stories are. There's kind of a sense of discovery when you play for the first time and find out what characters are recruitable for whom, or which of the 7 wonders you shall conquer at the end of the game. And I have to be honest, even if I would have preferred a more standard system of exploration, I cannot help but admire what the game accomplishes with this minimalist approach. The music, the sound effects, the impressive artwork, it all likely does the best job possible to set the mood. I also love...
Do it beautifully.
Nope, we're not talking about him.
I love the attention to detail in combat. All the sprites look amazing and move in very unique ways, all to the beautiful sound of Masashi Hamazu's music, which is arguably his best piece of work, even managing to turn a generic normal battle theme into something that I didn't get bored of even after hearing it for 1,000 times. And as for the gameplay, yes, it is confusing, and it is understandable that some people find it frustrating, but there are people who consider it enjoyable. The game is difficult and random, but that does add a sense of accomplishment for when things start to finally work out. I get a strange sense of joy already when I'm simply planning out how I'll build my party, who will get which weapon, picking some favorites to use.
Ah, beautiful.
Okay, I have to address this, don't I? Alright. This character is called Musol Jenny, and I kind of have a crush on him because he's voiced by Jay Hickman. What? Were you expecting something else?
Yes, Jay Hickman, my favorite voice actor. You may have heard him in the English dubs of such shows as Kaleidostar, Excel Saga, Generator Go, or Kromari High School, where he played the unforgettable role of Shinichi Mekazawa.
I swear to God, man, you are the best!
Please, stop it.
His excellent performance as Musol Jani in the game made him my instant favorite. In fact, Unlimited Saga does mark the first time that the performance of the voice actors impressed me so much that I actually looked up their names in the manual. So much so that I've actually extracted all the voice clips from the game disc and uploaded them to my old YouTube channel. So, this game appeals to me from a stylistic standpoint. I love the art style, I adore the music, it introduced me to my favorite voice actor, so isn't it easy to understand why I like it so much? Okay, maybe it's not. In fact, I imagine tons of people are about to write angry comments because I appreciate a game which they hate. The fact that I consider Unlimited Saga a good game does not mean that I'm denying anyone the right to dislike it. This is a very strange game, so it's understandable that some people have a problem with it. However, all this burning hatred, I feel like it went a bit too far. I mean, is it really that bad? So bad that it's to be placed among the worst of the worst? Regardless of its bad reputation, it was quite well received in Japan, and it does have some fans in the West as well. Plus, if the game was so awful, why were some of its concepts reused in Romancing Saga? You know, proficiencies, upgrading weapons, the skill system. Sure, these ideas were polished and altered in transition, but without the first steps being taken here, they would have likely never appeared in Minstrel Song. Romancing Saga really learned a lot from its elder sibling, and that's what made it so great. However, I still prefer Unlimited Saga, cause, come on, Minstrel Song did not handle the multiple playable character concept all that well, as I've said in my video. Plus, Unlimited Saga has a different atmosphere. Music, the animations, the character designs, and the use of camera and combat. It simply feels right. To me, anyway. Remember how I said that I know I should love Saga Frontier, but because of personal reasons I don't? I think the opposite might be the case here. I should probably hate Unlimited Saga, but some things about it just make me love it. While some consider it the black sheep of the series, to me, it is actually the most shining example of what the SaGa series is about. It's not a crowd pleaser, it wasn't made to be a bestseller, it simply tried to be different, to stand out, to dare what nobody else would. And while some appreciated that, others didn't much care for it. I know there are areas where the game could have been vastly improved, but at the same time, the gameplay, the art style, the music, the characters, the many little things, and also Jay Hickman, all these elements make this the most unique game I've ever played. And that is why it still remains my favorite title in the SaGa series, and one of my favorite games of all time. Now, would I recommend it to anyone? Probably not. It is not a game that would appeal to many people, but if my review made you curious, then feel free to give Unlimited Saga a try. I cannot guarantee that you'll like it, but you certainly won't be forgetting it anytime soon.
So here we are, more than 10 years later, with a new game coming at long last. However, we didn't get many news about it, and also, I'm kind of concerned.
SaGa Scarlet Grace will be released for the PlayStation Vita, a handheld console that did not have the best sales. That makes me worried about the possibility of an English release. Admittedly, the name of the game has been trademarked in both Europe and America, which is a good sign, but that doesn't really guarantee anything yet. However, things look rather nice in the case of a different game. Romancing Saga 2 has been released for the smartphone and the PlayStation Vita. Even better, it's not a Japanese exclusive, we're getting an English release! The smartphone version is out already, and it is confirmed that the Vita version will come out in due time as well. Yes! While some may claim that the SaGa series is dead, I feel like we haven't seen the last of it. We may have been getting mostly remakes for the past 10 years, but to me, that is still a sign of interest that people have in these games. And we are getting Scarlet Grace after all. However, even if Scarlet Grace were to be the last new SaGa title to ever come out, honestly, I wouldn't have much to regret. Typically, a franchise dying out is sad because of all the potential that it might have had, but wasn't given the chance to use. While in this case, the SaGa series survived for over 20 years and delivered a bundle of various titles. Sometimes the games were quite restrictive. Other times, they left the world open for you to explore. A few allowed you to create your own character, while the rest gave you a cast to choose from. Some games tried to be more standard, and others threw all conventions out the window. It might not be a very successful franchise, and many probably don't even know of its existence, but it does mean a lot to fans like me. I'm not sure if this retrospective has at all managed to explain what I find so appealing about these games, but I hope you've enjoyed following nonetheless. Perhaps you're a fan of the games and wanted a quick look back at everything that came before, or maybe you had never even heard of the SaGa series, and I possibly made you curious enough to give it a try. And if that's the case, go play Romancing Saga Minstrel Song. Even if something else caught your interest, this is the best place to start. It is the most accessible game by far, and there are plenty of resources online to help you, game facts or the SaGa wiki, which could really use a few extra people contributing.
In the future, I might make a video covering SaGa Scarlet Grace, or the Romancing Saga 2 remake, but this is it for today. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Goodbye.
More than 2 years of work are finally over. I am grateful for all the help with this video, And also, I wish to apologize that all of this took so long and that I wasn't able to use every piece of material that everybody provided me for this video. I also had to cut some stuff out. I mean, I didn't even mention that I own the official Japanese game guide and the Unlimited SaGa novel. Yes, in Japan they released a novel that explains some story details, and you probably don't care about that. Basically, thanks a lot for following my videos. Please continue to do so. Like this video, subscribe, comment, consider supporting me on Patreon, and I hope to see you next time on Farel Forever. Bye.
Ever beautiful is the face of victory.
Jay Hickman? What a soothing voice he has.